All right, hi, welcome back, Attorney Steve Vondran. We are talking in this video about artificial intelligence and copyright law. I had one of my great viewers ask a question. Hey, Attorney Steve, can you talk about this? Yeah, of course. If you ask, you will receive, okay? All right, so let's go through this. As you guys know, there's a lot of things going on in copyright law. Artificial intelligence, it seems to have hit just this year, hasn't it? ChatGTP and all these other things, some really great tools. They're really neat, but what happens is they may scour around the internet and pull up other sources and create a final output product for you. But is that product infringing or is that product copyrightable? Let's take a look. All right, so let's just start with the basics of copyright law here. To obtain a copyright through the United States Copyright Office, that's in Washington, D.C., typically you have to be the author, okay? You have to be human, okay? The saying goes, an original work of authorship fixed in a tangible medium of expression. So the word author basically means not an animal, not a plant, not something else, a human, an author, okay? Examples include a song, somebody writes a book, you can get a copyright. Somebody takes a photo, you got copyrights, a creative work of authorship. You shoot a video, you post it on the internet, your video can be copyrighted. Architectural plans, jewelry, a lot of people don't know this. Jewelry can be copyrighted, the design. Architectural plans and things can be protectable by copyright. Software code can be protected by copyright, and a lot of other things. This is just a small beginning, lyrics and all other kinds of things. So the question that we have here with AI, when they're creating these products, scouring the web, scraping and surfing websites and creating an artificial intelligent work of art, let's say, is can you obtain a copyright for that final output that's essentially created by your computer, by artificial intelligence? All right, key question. In copyright law, there's two things to be aware of when you're creating AI art, okay? One is if you're creating something transformative, or think of the Obama image where it said hope and somebody had transformed that into a piece of art. That was copyrightable because they had transformed his picture into something totally new, giving it new meaning, new expression, okay? So that was considered transformative. If it's transformative and it meets the other, there's a four-factor test for fair use. If it's transformative and it meets the other factors on balance, then it can be subject to the fair use laws under the copyright laws of the United States. That means you're not infringing. However, if it's derivative, if it's an unauthorized derivative work, in other words, you're not transforming it into something else, you're just using it, okay? So you go, hey, that really didn't change it, you're using my photo. And we just had a big case out of the Supreme Court with the Prince suing the Smithsonian's, Prince's estate. And the Supreme Court said, you can't do that. You're just making a derivative copy. You know, that's something that the copyright holder has that right, okay? So that's the big question we're always thinking about as copyright lawyers here. Is it transformative, giving new meaning, or is it derivative? If it's just derivative, that's copyright infringement. Could lead to big damages, lawsuits, all this other stuff, okay? So again, it's maybe an uncertain area with AI art. Some of the things you got to take a look very closely before you're trying to use it or sell it or do all this. You could get yourself into legal hot water, as we say. So what I'm saying, and you'll see it in a second, can you detect the underlying work? Can you see it? Is it noticeable? And is somebody going to take issue with that? And my general rule of thumb is, the bigger the company, the more you need to be careful because they have money and they're probably not afraid to enforce their copyrights, okay? And I also put here, is it noticeable? So for example, and I'll show you in a couple slides coming up, if it looks like somebody else, you could have a right of publicity problem, like California and New York, two big states, have the right of publicity laws, where if you're using someone's name, image, likeness, voice, all different kinds of identifying characteristics. If you're using that for commercial purposes, you could find yourself in legal hot water, once again, under the right of publicity laws. The United States Copyright Office, USCO, says it will review these on a case-by-case basis if you meet the test. And if it looks like it's more human generated than computer generated, they may give you a copyright, okay? Case by case. And due to some of the uncertainty in all this area, some sites like Getty Images, that's a stock photo site. I'm a subscriber to their site. I like their images. They are banning the AI art from being uploaded. So in other words, if you're an artist or photographer and you say, hey, I've been sending you guys photos to sell for years, now I'm making AI photos. They're saying, no, we're not taking those right now, okay? Probably because it's kind of an uncertain area right now. Here's a sample, a write-up publicity issue. So I went to some of these main sites. Here's Wonder, there's a Cran, a couple others, and I'll talk about them in a second. So I put in the search or the text to image phrase, lawyer in court eating an ice cream sandwich. So these are 5 of the different AI sites. They all came up with something different. My question, though, is, are any of these people recognizable? Did they maybe perhaps search, this looks like a judge? Did they perhaps search a website and find a picture of a judge and then put a little cake in front of it? Is this transformative or is this a derivative work? Are you going to have an issue with somebody, Sue? And I like this guy down here. That's me in court right there all day long. So anyway, that's what you want to be thinking about. Can this create legal trouble for you, posting it on your website, putting it on a t-shirt, bumper sticker, trying to sell it? Is that going to create a problem for you? That's the issue. All right, the United States Copyright Office, they have a copyright compendium that tells you it's about 1,300 pages or so, tells you everything about copyright law that you would want to know. And again, whoops, what happened there? It said they will take a case-by-case approach. They're looking for a human author, okay, again, not an animal, not some other things, which I'll show you some examples in a second. The human must contribute to the final work of authorship. If it seems to be technology computer-driven and the human really didn't add much other than a search phrase or a text-to-image phrase, probably not going to get a copyright. So I have here C, the copyright compendium, so magic. There it is, copyright compendium 313.2. Let's go over this real quick. Works that lack human authorship, as discussed in Section 306, the Copyright Act, protects original works of authorship. To qualify for authorship must be created by a human being. Works that do not satisfy this requirement are not copyrightable. There's a case for you. The United States Copyright Office will not register works produced by nature, animals, or plants. You might be going, what? What are you talking about? Likewise, the office cannot register a work purportedly created by divine or supernatural beings, although the office may register a work where the application or the deposit copies state that the work was inspired by a divine spirit. Okay. Here's some examples of things you cannot copyright. A photo taken by a monkey, and I believe some of these are actually real things that happen, which were denied, so don't laugh. A photograph taken by a monkey. A mural painted by an elephant. What if an elephant stomps all over a mural? Does that count as art and something that you can, I don't know, it keeps going back there. A claim based on the appearance of actual animal skin. A claim based on driftwood that has been shaped and smoothed by the ocean, so it turns it into almost like a sculpture. Sculptures can be registered. A claim based on cut marks, defects, and other qualities found in natural stone. An application for a song naming the Holy Spirit as the author of the work. Okay, I guess that wouldn't be a person now, would it? Similarly, the office will not register works produced by a machine or mere mechanical process that operates randomly or automatically without any creative input or intervention from a human author. The crucial question, I like this, so I underlined it, is whether the work is basically one of human authorship with the computer or other device merely being an assisting instrument, or whether the traditional elements of authorship in the work, literary, artistic, musical expression, or elements, selection and arrangement of content, were actually conceived and executed not by man, but by a machine. So once again, if it looks like a machine's doing it, that's not a human author. if it's predominantly created by a human, that may qualify for a copyright. Finally, reducing or enlarging the size of a pre-existing work of authorship, making it bigger or smaller, making changes to a pre-existing work of authorship that are dictated by manufacturing or material requirements. If you want to look at the rest here, go ahead and pause. I want to try to keep the video short. Some other things that are not going to qualify for copyright registration. An example of a successful AI copyright, there was this book, the Zira of the Dawn, by Christina Kashtanova. It was an AI-generated graphical novel that used Midjourney to create images. Midjourney was one of the sites that I used on the other photos. Used Midjourney to create images for the novel. The United States copyright determined that the book as a whole was copyrightable with the images, but that the images in and of themselves were not copyrightable, okay? So that's an important case to look up if you're wondering. Again, you have ChatGPT, which I love. I use it all the time. If you haven't tried to go to OpenAir or ChatGPT, type in what you want it to do, and it'll spit out, like, just, it's unbelievable. Recipes, essays, whatever you want. But again, where's it pulling from? Is it copying big segments of copyrighted content off of various websites that it's scraping? That's the key. So you need, again, beware. And then there was this Drake Weekend case using voices. Now we have AI platforms that can generate voices that sound just like you, just like anybody else. So this is getting really crazy. AI can also generate software code, but again, where is it getting the code? Is it getting copyrighted code? Where is it pulling from? Is that an infringement? Will some software designer or software developer go, hey, how could they make that? That's my code, and lead to a legal lawsuit, legal problems. And again, as I mentioned, some of these sites are banning the upload and the sales of AI-generated works, Getty Images, Newsgrounds, Purpleport, Fur Affinity. Again, be very careful. Copyright claims can be very expensive. Willful infringement can be up to $150,000. Innocent infringement can be $200. Problem is, if you lose a copyright case, you also pay their attorney fees. That's where you can get nailed. All right, Vondren Legal, thank you. We are, yes, a copyright leading firm in the United States. We've handled, 400 plus copyright infringement lawsuits, not to mention cases that were not lawsuits. We've handled a ton of cases. We can help you with DMCA takedowns, YouTube creators. We represent some very prominent YouTube creators. So if you need help with a fair use opinion, DMCA issues relating to AI and copyright, you know where to find us. And for reference, we do have a lot of copyright videos out, fair use, on my AttorneySteveVideos.com channel, AttorneySteveVideos.com, talking about tips for the fair use, okay, for fair use for YouTube creators. So check that out. You have our number, our website. If you need anything else, let me know. This is general legal information only, not legal advice. I appreciate you watching, guys. That's a quick and dirty AI and copyright law, but it gives you the key issues to be thinking about before you're trying to commercialize, monetize these images and art that may be pulling from copyrighted works, okay? Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Feel free to share this video on your social media networks. Tell them Attorney Steve sent you. I got to run. Bye now.